Also, I'm not embarrassed with her wearing this. I told her she can absolutely wear it next year when we go to Comic-Con. What? You can't just say that and then not explain what the problem is then. If you think of this specifically as an interest in hobby, like that's the distinction where it's like, okay, it's okay to not be okay with it. But I think, like I said, for some people, I think they view this as like a part of their identity. I couldn't give it less of a shit what anybody's gonna wear to the beach. You could go fully nude to the beach. I don't think I'd care. I don't think I'd give a shit. I'm there to swim. Okay, we're here to swim. Who cares what anybody's wearing? Welcome back to r/Am I the Asshole, where we react and we read stuff and we react and we have good takes that everyone agrees with. Here's the first story. This is just top of the page for today. Am I the asshole for refusing to take my sister to Ren Fair because of what she wants to wear? I, 25 female, am the oldest of 4 kids. Brother, Sam, 20 male, and sisters, Maddie, 17 female, and Kiara, 12 female. I've been going to Ren Fair since I was 16, usually with friends, but once Sam and Maddie were 13, I started taking them with me. So when Sam turned 13, you started taking him, and then when Maddie turned 13. Those are really confusingly... It doesn't matter. It's a small detail, but it doesn't, matter all that much, but it was really confusing. I started taking them with me. Kiara just turned 12 a few months ago, and said she wanted to go to Ren Fair this year. I was hesitant, but asked our mom, and once she gave the okay, I actually got excited because very sad about this. Sam is in the Marines and can't go this year because he is deployed. That is, I was excited until I found out what she wanted to wear. Maddie and I have been planning and making our outfits. This might be a little too zoomed in. Oh, maybe that's why I zoomed in. Maddie and I have been planning and making our outfits since last Ren Fair. We are both avid seamstresses and offered to help Kiara design her outfit. Kiara is really into furries lately and has started making suits and masks, but I made it clear that Ren Fair isn't the place for that, and I was uncomfortable taking her in that. She agreed. We came up with a few outfit designs and set a day to go shopping for all this stuff. Okay, so for where this is going, does it have something to do with being a furry? is that what it has to do with? This is what she wants to do. By the way, have you been to Ren Fair in the past, decade? Tons of furries go to Ren Fair, for the record. Okay? It's actually way more common than you would think. To say it's not the place for it, it's probably not, but, tons of people do it anyways, so it's not you're going to be out of place. She then came to me a week ago gloating, saying that our mom said yes to her wearing a furry suit to Ren Fair. Okay, again, so she's 12 and she wants to wear a furry suit? Do they even sell, do they sell furry suits for 12-year-olds? I can't even imagine that being a thing. Am I to believe this is the case? I guess, I don't know. From what I've been seeing online, a lot of people have been trying to change to correct the record on furries and say that it's not a sexual thing. It's just people that like to dress like animals in fursuits. So, I can imagine if that's the case, sure, why wouldn't they make fursuits for kids? Second thing, is that from what I know, I'm pretty sure they're really expensive. So, I don't know, what are we calling, a furry suit here? Does she want to dress in, a tiger onesie? Is that her furry suit? What are you talking about a furry suit for a 12-year-old? I told her she absolutely could, but again, I wouldn't be the one taking her if she chose to wear that. She got upset and said I was being unfair because I was still taking Maddie. I told her again that Ren Fair isn't the place, and who I take with me is up to me. She's now very upset with me and is trying to get our mom to make me take her wearing her furry suit. This is just a weird story. I don't know what to make of this. I guess the big thing for me is I don't know if I really believe it, but it's also missing some pivotal information here, as to why you wouldn't want to be with her wearing the furry suit. You just don't think it's appropriate for the Ren Fair, so you're well... But it seems like it's definitely got to be something else, right? Because even if it's not appropriate, it's there's a bunch of not appropriate attire you could wear that's not a fursuit. It's like, what if she wanted to dress up as, like, Spider-Man or something? Would you take issue with that? Or is it just because it's a furry suit specifically? Like, is it really that it doesn't fit? Like, what if she wanted to wear normal clothes to the Ren Fair? That technically wouldn't fit. I mean, it would. It'd be... I don't know. I'm questioning this too much. It depends on, like, why. Personally, I don't think it's that much of an issue. I mean, if you like, I don't think you're an asshole for it specifically because, like, yeah, if you're going out into public with people, it's like there is an element of, like, you don't want to be embarrassed if somebody's, you know, doing something, like, crazy. Like, they dress up in something that is just, like, way out there compared to everybody else. It's definitely, like, yeah, I don't want to hang out with you, and that's, like, totally normal. I don't want to hang out with you if you're going to, like, you know, kind of embarrass me like that. So I think that's kind of where we're at with this at the moment. I think that's how she feels. I'm sure there's going to be an argument made that, like, well, you shouldn't be embarrassed of furries or something like that. Like, being furry is completely okay or whatever. But I just think, you know, not everybody has to be comfortable with everything. Just because, I don't know, you don't think ill of it doesn't mean you're not embarrassed around it. So, you know, that's totally a normal feeling, I think. I don't think that's out of the ordinary. I could be wrong. You could argue me on that one. I'm sure there's situations in which that's a little less acceptable. You know, when somebody is like, you know, it's a distinct part of their identity, which I guess you could argue being a furry may be a distinct part of their identity, in which case, like, being embarrassed of that is like being embarrassed of them, which is kind of a problem. I don't know. This is a sticky situation. Edit to add, there are several reasons as to why I stated not the place. Main being that it is still going to be in the 80s during Ren Fair. It is still going to be in the 80s. She's talking about temperature. That was okay. Sorry, I don't know if it's my brain or the way this person writes is really confusing. During Ren Fair, and she wants to wear a full neon pink furry suit, head and all. Yet again, I question how a 12-year-old is getting a full neon pink furry suit. Who bought this for her? Because the mother doesn't seem to mind it all that much. I guess the mother's like, just thinks it's like kind of a, you know, a quirky little phase she's having. They've also got to be like upper class, right? You know, I can imagine when I was a kid, like, I think those suits are like, I swear they're like at least over $100. Let me look it up. I'm gonna look it up. So this is in my search history now. Look at all these fursuits. Literally, they're like $300+. Like, this shit's crazy expensive. I want to search child fursuit now, and I'm like, do I want that in my search history? Whatever. Okay, they do kind of sell, like, looking at kids' fursuits. I hate having to talk about this. I mean, something like this is, like, whatever. Like, is that what you're talking about? Because this is just, like, a bunch of little, like, this is the kind of stuff that I have seen people wearing, but it's, like, there's no, like, face thing. It's just, like, a tail. I feel like that's whatever. If she wants to walk around with that, like, I don't feel like it's that embarrassing. I'd say a full-blown fursuit, that's a lot, but I don't know. It'd have to be specific. Let's see if they mention what they're talking about. This isn't a big Ren Fair where you see all kinds of costumes. We live in a small town, and aside from some tourists, it's mainly just people in our town. There's been plenty of creature costumes, but nothing like what she wants to wear. Okay, nothing like what she wants to wear. So she wants to wear something, like, elaborate. We offered to help her do a fantasy creature type costume, but she's doubling down. My mother isn't trying to make me take her, just said she was allowed. Also, I'm not embarrassed with her wearing this. I told her she can absolutely wear it next year when we go to Comic-Con. Well, you can't just say that and then not explain what the problem is then. Like, that is the problem. You're embarrassed. Why else would you have a problem with it? It doesn't make any sense. It's because you're embarrassed. Don't lie to me, okay? That doesn't make any sense. What, you can't just say because it like doesn't fit in. Like, who cares? Like, if that's the problem, it doesn't fit in with the Ren Fair environment. It's like there's gonna be a billion people that are probably not even gonna dress up in costumes. You know, I've been to the Ren Fair many times. I've never dressed up once, and I see so many people that aren't fitting the specific Renaissance costume anyways. You see a bunch of steampunk stuff. You see like a dude in full armor from like Dark Souls or some shit. You know, you see like a Johnny Depp Pirates of the Caribbean guy. It's like none of that's right. That's not the period appropriate attire. That's not what it's about. I mean, it's not what it's about. The Renaissance Fair is mostly just you go, you play games, you drink a lot, you watch shows, and you have fun. You eat a turkey leg. Okay, that's what the Renaissance is about. Just the dressing up part of it is a small part of it that not everybody even participates in. And the people who do don't even necessarily just, you know, specifically follow the period that they're supposed to be following. You know, it's not like a big important part of the thing. So I need to know more about why you would have a problem with it, and I think it is specifically that you are embarrassed. I feel like you're just trying to shy away from that because you feel like it makes you look bad. I don't think it's that much of a problem, but I know like the sort of politics of this are gonna kind of be a bit divisive, I think, because you're talking about like something that people have taken to be a part of their identity. Being a furry is like, you know, oh, this is part of who I am. And because of that, people are going to be like, well, you should accept her for who she is. Whereas, like, in this person's mind, they might be thinking of this from the position of, like, well, it's just a lot. It's a really, like, big standout costume that really isn't, like, she's worried everyone's going to be staring at them. Everybody's going to think they're weird. Stuff like that, you know. That's what she's concerned about. And I don't think that's an invalid concern to have, okay? Like, it's totally fine for her to just want to go and have a chill time. I think that's fine. I don't really think there's necessarily a problem with that specifically. Let's see what the comments said. I'm interested in the comments for this one. All aesthetics aside, a fursuit outside in July in what will probably be the hottest July in recorded history, unless you are in the southern hemisphere. She said it was going to be in the 80s, which, I mean, is hot. It is hot. I don't see. That's the problem, though. I don't know what they're talking about with a fursuit. Like a literal fursuit made for a 12-year-old is just. I don't know what that looks like. In July, yeah. But she said the temperature. She said it was going to be in the 80s, which means it's not. That's. It could definitely be hotter than that. Okay, that is not as hot as it gets. Okay, there's been days. I think like last week it was in the 90s for like most of the week, where I live at least. Okay, not the asshole. So they're saying just specifically because it's a danger for her to be wearing a fursuit. That is something I never really thought about. It's like, yeah, I guess. Like, yeah, you probably... It's like I said, I guess it's just because I don't know what it looks like. Yeah, I came here to say that. I feel like this is kind of sidestepping the overall, like... issue that we're trying to discuss here. Like, let's take the temperature out of it and say, then what? Then is she the asshole if it's not like because you're adding this extra element into it, you know, of like, oh no, you're just looking out for her health, when in reality that wasn't what OP was doing at all. You know, it's sidestepping it quite a bit. Comment to add, Maddie and I offered to help make her a more D&D creature outfit, werewolf, dragonborn, etc., but that isn't what she wants to wear. She wants to wear a neon pink, cartoonish, furry suit. If we were going to Comic-Con, I absolutely wouldn't care. She did say that. I guess I kind of know what it looks like, but I'm still like, I don't know. It's hard to picture. If we were going to Comic-Con, I absolutely wouldn't care, but we live in a fairly small area, and I've been going to our Ren Fair since I was 16, and I've literally never... Literally never? Where do you live? You've never seen somebody wearing a furry suit at the Ren Fair? She clearly doesn't go to my Ren Fair. I know that for a fact. When we go to the Ren Fair, there's got to be like, you see so many people in fursuits. I swear to God. It is so common. It's common to the point my dad knows what furries are because he's always talking about all the furries at Ren Fair. I don't think he would know what furries were otherwise unless he only literally knows because he sees them all the time at the Renaissance Fair and he's like, what's that about? If she wants to go, she follows your rule. Otherwise, she can wait until she is 18 and wear what she wants. I agree with that. That's basically kind of the sentiment I would go for. It's like you're driving her. I don't know. I don't know if I would claim that because you're the one driving. But you're going together. You're going to have to spend the entire day together. Like, that's more the problem. Or mom takes her as mom said it is okay. Mom said it's okay, but, like, why bring that into the... Well, your sister is entitled to her interests and hobbies. See, this is the thing. So, this is the distinction I need to make here. Is, like, if you think of this specifically as an interest and hobby, like, that's the distinction where it's like, okay, it's okay to not be okay with it. But I think, like I said, for some people, I think they view this as like a part of their identity. And in that case, you can't really go this way. I'm surprised. I guess a lot of people don't really view furries that way. I kind of thought they did. I thought that was like a kind of the way that the community is kind of viewed now, is that it's kind of an identity thing, but I guess I'm wrong. Renaissance fairs typically have a specific theme and aesthetic that doesn't align with furry costumes. Yeah, but nobody cares about that. Your discomfort with taking her in a furry suit is understandable. Okay, this is good. This is a good start. I liked this. I liked discussing this one because I feel like we're all kind of aligned. I feel like I wasn't too controversial on the first post, so that's good. Let's move on to the next one. Am I the asshole for refusing to wear less revealing bikinis? So off the first sentence of this, depends on the situation. I feel like that's where we're going to go here. But overall, yes, obviously no, probably not. For context, I, 40 female, have always been on the heavier side my entire life. Doesn't matter. Over the past year, I've gotten a personal trainer and have been going to the gym 5 days a week. I've lost over 50 pounds this year, and I'm very proud of my transformation. I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in. So my 3 best friends and I rented a house on the lake for the week of the 4th of July week, which we arrived Monday. None of us live in the same state, so it's a nice excuse for us to all get together with our families, husbands, children. Before this week, I had gone shopping for new bathing suits, and I bought my first ever 2-piece bikinis. First ever. I had never had the self-confidence to wear a 2-piece, so my 3 friends are also on the heavy side. Okay. Anyway, so we arrived to the lake on Monday, and we all got moved in for the week. The house has a pool, and we all rented a boat for tubing, and a couple jet skis. Damn. Rich. Well, I don't know. If you pull a bunch of money, that's probably not unobtainable. So Monday, everything was normal, and we spent the day outside in the pool, in the lake, and on the boat and jet skis. Everything seemed normal. Yesterday was more of the same with no issues until last night after dinner. My friends and I were sitting on the porch talking when one of my friends made a comment like, "You need to tone it down." You need to tone it down. First, I didn't know what they were talking about, so I made a funny comment about nothing. What? I made a funny comment about nothing. Okay. You could have cut that sentence from the story, I think. I don't know what that means. That's when all 3 of the lit into me. They said that I need to cover up and that I'm making their husbands feel uncomfortable. I finally realized that they meant my 2-piece. I asked what was wrong with them, and they proceeded to say no one wants to stare at your ass and tits. I was so caught off guard by this that I got defensive. Before long, we were in a full-blown argument. They were saying stop acting like a slut, and I replied by telling them that they were just jealous because they were wearing 1-pieces. You told them that they are just jealous. After that, I was so hurt that I stormed off to cry in my room. I couldn't even tell my husband the reason I was so upset. Why not? Why not? Why can't you tell him that? This doesn't seem like something you shouldn't be able to tell your husband. I spent the rest of the night in my room. Now this morning, I'm the first one awake, and I'm wearing another two-piece. I'm the first one awake, and I just put on my two-piece again. Why the asshole are my friends just so insecure? I mean, I don't know what their problem is. Maybe I do. Maybe they are jealous. Maybe they're just jealous and insecure. Obviously, no. I don't really see any problem with that at all. There could be an argument to be made for, like, what exactly the swimsuit looks like. If it's, like, too small, maybe. There's an argument to be made there, maybe. But overall, if the information I'm getting is you just wanted to wear a two-piece, and that's, like, all it is, and they don't like that, that's crazy. It's the same, like, it's the same thing. It's just missing the midriff. Like, that's the only difference between a one piece and a bikini, really. So, like, I don't even get the argument of, like, saying no one wants to stare at your ass and tits when it's like both of those things are still covered up. Doesn't even make sense to say that. I don't know. Can I assume there's something else going on here, maybe? Oh, by the way, and you're 40. Your friends are all in their 40s, right? Who gives a shit? Surely not, right? Surely at that age, you guys, like, just don't... Who cares anymore? At 40. I can't imagine. Like this sounds like jealous, like, snippy, like, 20-year-olds or even, like, teenagers. But I'm, like, 40 years old. Your friends suck. Like, gosh, at that age, like, I'm in my early 30s, and I'm already at the age where I'm like, I don't think I could bother. I'm not a woman, obviously, so this is like a different, feels like an issue that's very specific to women, but I can't imagine caring about this at that age. I just can't. I couldn't give it less of a shit what anybody's gonna wear to the beach. You could go fully nude to the beach. I don't think I'd care. I don't think I'd give a shit. I'm there to swim. Okay, we're here to swim. Who cares what anybody's wearing? But yeah, there's a strong possibility they're maybe just a little jealous. Maybe they're just, they're like not super happy with the way they look, and they're like, oh, I don't want my husband looking at this person who probably looks a lot better than me. So, yeah, maybe they're just insecure. I don't see any issue. Let's read the comments. But the asshole sounds like they're jealous that you put in the work to lose weight. Congrats, by the way, and their husbands are boys if they feel uncomfortable. What's the difference going to the beach and seeing women walking around in two pieces or whatever else? So true. We go to the beach to have fun. Who cares what people are wearing or sometimes not wearing? So true. Unless you are actively trying to flaunt and flirt with the husbands and show off, then I'd say they are insecure and projecting their insecurities onto you. You didn't do anything wrong, and it's not up to them to say what you can and can't wear. You're there to have fun, spend time together, and relax. So true. All right. So far, I feel like the first video I made doing these, I felt I was very controversial. So far, these have been really easy to judge. These are not hard at all. Am I the asshole for asking my dad why his stepkids and my half-siblings are more important to him than me and my sister? I, 17 male, have a complicated blended family history that I should try to explain. Dad and Mom had me and my sister Callie, 15 female. Mom died when Callie was 3, and I was 5. Dad was never that close to his family, but Mom was close to hers, and Callie and I were close to them too. Okay. Dad was not. My dad's wife had her oldest, 13, before she got married for the first time. With her ex-husband... Oh, good. With her ex-husband, she had 2 kids, 10 and 9. During her first, so those are your half-siblings, right? No. Sorry, those are your step cousins. Step siblings. Step siblings. During her first marriage, she and her husband took in his nieces, 12 and 8, Jesus. Her ex-husband and his whole family got arrested. His whole family got arrested? What? Her ex-husband and his whole family got arrested. And her nieces didn't know their father. So she kept them and raised them with my dad. She also took custody of her nephew, 7, while she and my dad were dating. I could be a little off on the timeline. This stuff happened, but of course I didn't know her during most of it. Okay, so there's a lot of kids. Now they have a 4 and 3-year-old together. Now they've been married for 6 years. They only dated for 14 or 15 months, and she started dating Dad while she was in the middle of her divorce. Of all the kids in our house, and my sister and I are the only ones with extended family in our lives. Our maternal grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins, sure. Dad's parents didn't want anything to do with kids that weren't blood. So Dad finally stopped all contact with his family, though his family never cared much for Callie or me either. Isn't that what you just said? Dad's parents didn't want anything to do with kids that weren't blood. Which is that not just you two? Oh no, I guess that is all of her kids except the 2, or all the kids she's taking care of except the 2 that they have together, the 4 and the 3-year-old, would be the only ones that are technically of the father's blood. No, you 2 are also of the father's blood. So they would only not care about the 10 and the 9-year-old, and then the nieces, and then the nephew. Sure, right? So they care about you, and they care about this 4 and the 3-year-old, but they don't care about the other kids, right? I'm really trying to understand. This is a complicated family dynamic. We're blood, so Dad finally stopped all contact with his family, though his family never cared much for Callie or me either. Well, okay, so if they don't care for you or Callie, then they only cared about the 4 and the 3-year-old, unless they just didn't care about them either, and they just didn't care. I don't know, whatever, who cares? His wife's parents are dead. Your father's wife's parents are dead? Okay, so the stepmom. That's who we're talking about. She's also your stepmom, also, right? Couldn't you also just call her your stepmom? But you're calling her your dad's wife. Why are you doing that? It's confusing. His wife's parents are dead, and her brother isn't around for his son, and the mother of his son and her family aren't involved either. Okay, aren't involved, sure. So that's it, talking about the nieces and the nephews. Her ex-husband's family are all still in prison, and the father of his nieces are still unknown. And the father of his nieces are still unknown. Okay, her ex-husband's family and the father of her ex-husband's family and the father of his nieces? Her ex-husband's family. I'm sorry, I'm losing it. So we're talking about the stepmom's sister's kids. Their father is unknown. So, okay, right? You mentioned her brother before. You didn't mention his sister, so I'm assuming that she has to have a sister, and the father of the nieces are still unknown. Maybe she took on the nephew. Brother isn't around for his son, so that's the nephew, right? The nephew he's taking care of is the brother's daughter. Her nieces didn't know their father. Yeah, his whole family got arrested. And her nieces didn't know their father. So she has to have a sister, or the ex-husband had a sister, and we're talking about their kids. I don't know if any of this matters. I'm just trying to understand. I'm going to have to draw a family tree at some point here. I don't think any of this actually matters, but it's fun to piece together. My maternal family don't want to be involved in the others, just Callie and me, which annoys my dad and annoys his wife. And the kids... Sorry, didn't we already talk about them? Oh, no, my maternal family. Oh, okay, sorry. We're talking about the mom side of the family now. Okay, don't want to be involved in the others, just Callie and me, which annoys my dad and annoys his wife, and the kids get upset because they want to have more people too. They want to go to barbecues and grandparents' sleepovers and cousin sleepovers, which is Callie and I get that. It's become such a huge deal that my dad and his wife tried to tell Callie and me we couldn't see our family as much, and they tried to take advantage of COVID by making us all do family things together in the hope we wouldn't tolerate the other kids being excluded if we loved them more than we loved our maternal side. It didn't work. In the hope we wouldn't tolerate the other kids being excluded. I mean, that's not your problem, is it? It's just not, simply put. Dad told Callie and me recently he was putting his foot down and we were not to talk to our family anymore. He said we were a bad influence and taught us to close... You're a bad influence. Taught us to close off our hearts to our family. Sorry, that sounds really dramatic. Taught us to close off our hearts to our family. He said he never should have let things continue this long. He said it wasn't fair to the other kids and what they're going through. I asked him why his stepkids and his younger bio kids are more important to him than Callie and me. Why is their happiness and their wants more important? Dad told me I wasn't being logical or fair to him. I kind of agree. That's not really logical or fair. I don't think he's saying they're more important. I think as a father, maybe he's conflicted by the fact that he's got a lot of kids and only 2 of those kids get to do a lot of stuff with the family, and that family is excluding the rest of them. Which, by the way, I assume they're not letting the father or the stepmom go to these. It's just the 2 kids that are part of the family are the only ones allowed. I will say that is kind of cruel for the family, to be honest, for the maternal family to, like, cut them off just because they're not, like, blood related. It's like, you know, they don't have anywhere else to go. Is it because they don't like them, or is it specifically just for this, like, arbitrary reason of, like, literal blood relation? And if that's the case, then, like, I mean, surely they let, you know, the, you know, in-laws come, right? It's not just like, oh, one of the, you know, grandma's son has a kid, and the kid's allowed to come, but don't you bring your wife. I swear to God, you bring her. She's not blood. She's not related. She's not my blood. That doesn't even make sense, realistically. I'll be honest with you, because there's got to be... That's how families work. There's a lot of people that you're not directly related to. It's called in-laws. So, like, at what point do you not allow the in-laws in? I honestly feel like it's more... The problem is more the maternal parents here that are kind of being shitty by not allowing the rest of... Like, these are their siblings, you know? These are the kids that they live with. He said it wasn't fair to the other kids and what they're going through. I asked him why his stepkids and his younger See, that's not really a fair assessment. I don't think he's treating them as they're more important, realistically. I think he's just, like, conflicted about this whole thing. He's like, this really isn't a fair situation that we found ourselves in. Unfortunately, I feel like what he's doing still would be somewhat unfair. Because it is just unfair to cut you off from your maternal parents just altogether. It's like, you know, it's unfortunate, I guess, that, you know, only the 2 kids get that sort of allowance, but I can't really justify cutting them off from that. But I believe what he's trying to do is just make it so that his other kids don't feel excluded, don't feel like, you know, like, I don't know. It's just an awkward situation. Because you two, Callie and you, the other kids are going to see you as, like, more special, that you have, like, you're more loved, you know, something like that, which isn't fair, but maybe that's what obviously that's probably what he's trying to defeat. That's probably the issue he's trying to solve. I told him we didn't owe them cutting off our family for them. That's true. I told him he should be putting us first too. It's not that he's not putting you first, though. That's where we're still his, and we don't have another parent to advocate for us. He told me I should show more compassion and love for my sibling. It's not your problem. Realistically, like, I see what he's trying to do, but, like, he's trying to appeal to your sense of like guilt or shame, that's not fair. That's definitely not fair, because it's not your problem that like the other kids don't get to go. It's not your problem. You don't have to feel bad about that. So that I have a problem with. I can see what he's trying to do, but I don't really think he's an asshole, is the thing. I don't think he's an asshole. Like, it's just a situation where he's like, there's no, like, I feel like he's being unfairly treated, and the rest of his family is being unfairly treated. And I feel like the maternal family, I feel like they're being the assholes in this situation. And they're creating, it's really them kind of, there could be other reasons, like maybe that's just too many people. Maybe they just don't want to, like, start allowing all of these kind of, like, well, fringe cases, you know, of like, oh, well, this is my third cousin twice removed, you know. Like, well, if we allow these kids, like, we're going to allow this kid over here on that side of the family, and now we have, like, 2,000 people showing up to the barbecue, and it's like, it's just too many people. You know? Let's see what the comments say. Not the asshole. Your dad is encouraging you to destroy the last remaining link you have to your mother just to appease his new... Okay. What is this? What does this take? Dramatic as fuck. This is the typical Reddit brain rot. I'm just gonna call it that now. Whenever I see a comment that's just like insane, okay. And this is top comment. That's embarrassing. Your dad is encouraging you to destroy the last remaining link you have to your mother just to appease his new wife and the other kids. That's not fair. You're reading something into this that is not stated. I read this whole post. They said nothing about appeasing his new wife. You could say the other kids, appeasing them? Appeasing them? I think what he's trying to do is ultimately, like, a good thing. He's just going about it the wrong way, and there's not really a good way for him to go about it. What he should probably not be doing anything, but, like, yeah, I mean, there's nothing good he can really do in that situation, except to just, like, ignore it and just let them do it. But again, I don't think he's being an asshole. I think he's trying to do, like, a good thing for the other kids. Like, he's trying to care about their, like, feelings and their well-being. But, like, yeah, he's going about this the wrong way. It's not fair. I agree with that. Appeasement. I don't like the use of the word appeasement. Appease. Your mom's side are the people who can tell you about her in ways that your dad can't. Mom's side are the people who can tell you about her in ways that what are you talking about? And probably wouldn't anyway from the sound of it. What is this person I feel like they're projecting. This is like insane projection here. And give you a sense of history. I imagine it would be heartbreaking for them to lose you and Callie after already losing their own daughter. Again, projection. There was nothing about that. It sucks that your step-biosibs don't have extended family, but that's not on you. That I agree with. Don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. That's a weird, like, dramatic platitude that you just threw out there. But technically true. Yeah, it's not their problem. It's not the kid's problem. I agree with that sentiment. I feel like this person is reading a little bit more into stuff that is not in the post at all. There's nothing about appeasing his wife. I feel like you're imagining that they're, like, you know, dramatic and complaining, like, it's not fair that they get to go to barbecues. It could just be something as simple as, like, they might not even complain all that much, but he might just notice that when they go off to the barbecue, that the other kids are like, well, why can't we go to the barbecue, Dad? Doesn't our family care about us? Why don't they care about us? Why don't they like us? You know, why do they like my brother but they don't like me? You know, like simple stuff like that. There's ways you can play this out that are not as dramatic and angry. Okay? I don't know. Could be something simple as that's what he's dealing with, and that's what he's trying to, reconcile. Anyways. Yeah, I don't know. If I would say, I'd have to know why the maternal parents aren't allowing their side of the family. Is it because they're, like, mean and horrible and they don't like them or something like that? Because then, in that case, like, then I'd understand that, like, yeah, if they're assholes, then they're the assholes, I guess. But if they're not, and they're just being excluded just because of this, like, arbitrary rule of, like, well, you're not technically blood related, that seems kind of rude and cruel and mean. Consider this, okay? If the mother were still alive, the father would for sure be allowed to go, right? And then if the father came into the relationship with stepkids, right? Like, he had kids from a previous marriage. Do you think they would exclude those stepkids in that case? Do you think they'd be like, oh, you can't bring your stepkids? Right? Like, they wouldn't say that, right? That would be insane. To just be like, well, it's not related to the mother, so you can't bring them. There's no way that would do that. So I do feel like they're kind of being, like, shitty and excluding, like, this family. You know what I mean? It's like the rest of the family. Like, why can't they go? I don't know. That's my main issue with this. I think that the maternal family is the asshole in this situation. I don't think the dad's, like, I feel like you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do this and, like, blame the kids and, like, take something away from them that, like, is something that they have in their lives and is only a positive thing, just for the sake of making your other kids feel better. Like, that's just not, I agree, that's not fair. You shouldn't do that. But I don't know. Anyways, let's read another comment just for the hell of it, and then I'm going to do one more post, I think, and then I'm going to end. Not the asshole, your dad is being unreasonable and unfair. It's understandable that he wants a united family, but he can't force you to prioritize his other children over your own grandparents and extended family. You and your sister have a right to maintain your relationships with your mother's side of the family. It's not your responsibility. Okay, this is a reasonable post. This I agree with. This is wholeheartedly I agree with. I don't actually think it's understandable for him to want a unified family. Okay, well, that's what a stupid first sentence. Cool first sentence, man. That's let's just ignore the rest of this sentence and say, okay, I don't actually think it's understandable for him to want a unified family. Do I have to read the rest of this comment? You started your paragraph with this, man. What are you talking about? Already I'm angry. Already I'm angry at you. His kids went from a family of 2 siblings to a family of 10 siblings in an extraordinarily short time frame, and he doesn't appear to have worked very hard to make sure. He doesn't appear to have worked very hard to make sure they were okay with it, and their needs were being met. He didn't have a choice? What are you There's not... Okay. First of all, what are you talking about? He doesn't appear to have worked very hard? Like, okay, none of these kids had a choice. As we can tell from the story, like, all of this was just kind of what happened. It just happened that way. It's not like anybody's fault, really. You could maybe blame, like, the ex-husband of the mother, of the stepmom, for going to jail. But it's not the stepmother's fault. It's not the father's fault that this situation happened and that they ended up with all these kids, okay? To have worked very hard to make sure they were okay with it, make sure they were okay with it? I don't know what you're talking about. And you're making stuff up, and their needs were being met. It doesn't even say that their needs aren't being met. In that situation, kids are naturally going to try to set themselves apart from this massive and sudden change to their way of life, and a good parent would want to acknowledge that and work to make those kids... He is! Okay. It's not saying that he's not. There's nothing in this post that makes it clear that he's definitely not trying to make the kids feel comfortable, or he's not trying to meet their needs. It's just this specific situation. He's trying to maybe fix a problem that he's noticed. He's going about it the wrong way. That's about it, okay? You shouldn't go ahead and do this, all right? But that's it. Beyond that, you're reading way too much into information that's not there. But Opie's dad has never tried that. You don't know that, bro. You don't know that. Having a healthy blended family takes an enormous amount of work. OP's dad wants the healthy blended family, but he's not. You don't know any of this. Gosh, people just make shit up, huh? I commend OP's dad and stepmom for taking in so many kids who aren't theirs, but choosing to have 2 or more bio kids when they already have 8 collective kids seems unnecessary and borderline selfish. Who the hell is paying for all these kids? I mean, that's an interesting take. Why did they have 2 more kids? Does it say that they had the kids after they ended up with all the other kids, though? Now they have a 4 and a 3-year-old together. So I guess, yeah, they would have had to. They had 2 more kids. Yeah. Borderline selfish. Unnecessary and borderline selfish. I don't know, man. I don't know about all that. You know, a couple gets together. I don't find it strange that they're going to want to have, like, biological kids between the 2 of them that aren't kids from previous marriages. I can kind of understand wanting to do that. And again, I feel like you're reading too much into them not being able to take care of the kids. The problem specifically is that there is no family, like, above the dad and the mom that can or wants to have anything to do with these kids. That's specifically the problem. It's not that they're not being taken care of or their emotional needs aren't being met. It's just that he sees this, like, imbalance in his family. He's trying to fix that. That's all it is. I don't know. It's too much projection. It's too much projection. Let's get out of this. You're doing one more post, and then I'm going to end this. Last one. Am I the asshole for getting in an argument with my wife and telling her that she needs to pay me back for the brisket since she couldn't spend a minute taking it to the freezer to defrost? And I guess a correction, from the freezer to defrost. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. My wife is extremely picky about what meat... Is this a short story? That's short enough. My wife is extremely picky about what meat she eats. She usually will only eat chicken and fish. Okay, well, that's not what a brisket is, so... Red meats she refuses to eat or cook, which is fine. Okay. Tomorrow is the 4th of July, and my family is having a BBQ. I volunteer to bring the brisket. Smoking a brisket takes 12 to 18 hours, and the meat needs to be thawed. It takes about 24 hours to thaw completely in the fridge. My job called me out on Monday to a site and Okay, this might be controversial. I'm not a big, like, cook person, okay? I don't freeze meats very often. I usually use my meats within a week, so I rarely freeze anything. But are there not other ways to defrost? Like, I know... Like, I know the optimal way is to, like, take something out of the freezer, put it in the fridge, and wait for it to defrost. It does take a really long time, like 24 hours, sure, to thaw completely. Because even after, like, a while, even after, like, 10 hours, you'll still have, like, the middle of it frozen. But, like, are there not ways to, you know, unfreeze something faster? Like, I know even if it's not unfrozen, you know, you can put it in, like, hot water or something, and you can like hopefully accelerate the thawing process. I feel like it's not like unsalvageable. It's not like, oh, it's still frozen, I'm screwed, right? I feel like there's still something you can do to like fix that situation, to like unfreeze it. And even if you need to like just put it in the smoker, like it will unfreeze. It just won't be like you might not be able to salvage, like, it's not going to be as cooked in the middle, but as long as you smoke it for enough of a time, like, it will unfreeze pretty fairly quickly enough. And if it's smoking for 12 to 18 hours anyways, I feel like it'll probably be fine. You know, it might not be perfect, but I think it'll be okay. My job called me out on Monday to a site. To a site? Did you mean like a site? Like S-I-T-E? To a site? And problems caused me to stay over 2 nights. I was planning to use the frozen brisket from the freezer, but it needed to be thawed out beforehand. I bought 1/4 of a cow and I froze it so I wouldn't have to buy red meat for a year. Oh, Jesus. It's hardcore. On Tuesday, I realized that my job was going to keep me and asked my wife to move the brisket from the freezer to the fridge so it can thaw out. A task that would have taken it a single minute. True. She told me okay and thought that was it. I came home today and it wasn't in the fridge. It was still in the freezer as hard as a rock. I can't use it, so I go to the store and have to buy one. Yeah. I guess that's also an alternative. It's just going to buy one. I came home today and it wasn't in the fridge. Oh, I asked my wife why she didn't do what I asked, even though she agreed to it. She told me she thought it was gross, and so she didn't. Oh no. Oh no. I don't like her. This started an argument. I am pissed that she agreed to do me even if you think it's gross. Why would you not just communicate that and be like, it's actually kind of gross. I didn't do it. I don't want to do that. She just he asked her to do something, she just didn't do it, and then this started an argument. I'm pissed that she agreed to do me as a simple favor and then didn't, and I had to buy one from the store. I told her she needs to pay me back for what I bought. She needs to pay you back for what you bought. See, that's just see, I don't know about that. I mean, I guess this is we're talking about a married couple that doesn't have a joint bank account. That's already interesting. Not unprecedented. Definitely a lot of people do this. I think it's a little strange. Just because I feel like that just makes everything easier to have a joint bank account, doesn't it? When you're a married couple. To have two distinct bank accounts. And it also, it avoids things like this, where it's where it's you can lord over somebody and be like, hey, you have to pay me back for this brisket that I had to go to the store to buy. Which is fair, normally. It's just, I don't know, in a marriage, kind of just a weird situation. I don't know that I distinctly have a problem with it. But I don't know. I'd rather avoid in a marriage. I think you'd rather avoid situations where you have to there has to be a paying back of something, like a retribution. You have to you owe me this because you wronged me. It's usually it's just, I don't know, two people that come together and agree on what's right and what's wrong, and then you have an argument, you just solve it through words instead of oh, you owe me this thing now. But I don't know. Maybe I'm romanticizing it too much. She thinks I am being a huge jerk and overreacting. We have a shared account for the bills and whatnot. The meat came out of my account, which is why I want her to pay me back. We have a shared account for the bills and whatnot. Okay, so you have a shared account for bills and then for just personal purchases. I actually kind of like that. I think that's probably a good way to do it. I feel like you might have problems with just determining what's a bill and what should be for the shared account, what should come from the personal account, but that's probably all right. It allows you to kind of buy stuff for yourself every once in a while and not have to have an argument about whether or not you could afford it as a couple. I guess that's maybe okay. That's maybe good. Yeah, in that case, I guess, does that really change the situation significantly? I feel like it changed my feeling about it for some reason. I'm is that fair? It's kind of the same thing. I don't know. Isn't buying stuff from the store, shouldn't you use the shared account for that? I feel like groceries should come from the shared account. Am I wrong? Groceries is just an expense that you have every month, or multiple times a month. It's why would you use your personal account to buy groceries? You know what I mean? I wouldn't do that. I would definitely use the shared account for groceries. I'm more invested in the the financial organization of this relationship than I am about the situation itself. It's yeah, she's that's really annoying that she didn't take it out. It's not the biggest deal in the world. This is a really petty domestic argument. This is really petty. I don't know why you brought this to Reddit. I don't know. I can't figure that one out. Because no matter what Reddit says, your wife's not going to give a shit, dude. You know, you can't just go on Reddit and be like, Reddit said that you were the asshole, so you do have to actually pay me back now for that meat that you didn't take out of the freezer. It's like, no, dude. That's embarrassing. That's an embarrassing thing to say. God, silly. I mean, she's kind of in the wrong on this. Does she need to pay you back? I don't know. That's between you guys, man. If that's how your financial situation is set up, then I guess she needs to pay you back. Like, I see it. If this wasn't like a couple, a man and a wife, I would be like, if it was two friends, then I would be like, yeah, she has to pay you back. But I'm like, this is a man and this is a fully grown adult ass couple that are married, a married couple. And you're like, my wife isn't paying me back. It's like, all right, that's your problem, man. I don't know. Expecting your wife to like pay you back for every slight is just not how that works. I don't think. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about. I'm sure that's Redditors are like mostly like 15-year-olds, so none of them are married. Or would understand the situation, so they're probably just going to say that, yeah, she has to pay you back, it's her fault, right? Not the asshole. You asked for a favor, which you agreed to do, then didn't do it, so she lied to you. Then you had to go out of your way to buy a new one, so it can be cooked on time, which briskets are not cheap, so she should pay you back. Yeah, so this is specifically the Hammurabi take, eye for an eye, right? It's only fair that she pay you back. No nuance. This is the 15-year-old teenager take that's like, it's the only thing that makes sense. Obviously, she didn't do the thing, so she has to pay you back for it. Not saying he's necessarily wrong. I mean, like, yeah, that's the read of the situation, I suppose. But it is different just because it's a man and a wife, and this is like a weird way to like organize your relationship, and then say that somebody owes you something for not doing a chore that you asked them to do. Like they owe you money. Is a little sketch, you're in dangerous territory there. I feel like that's not good. That's not good for a relationship. Should probably take the money aspect out of it entirely, but I don't know. Well, that's my Reddit for today. This is very fun. I enjoyed going on this journey with you guys. I feel like I was a lot less upset this time around. I don't really like Reddit still. I don't like Redditors. But I agreed with most of these takes. I think the last one was the one that set me off a little bit, but I think for the most part, like, I don't disagree with this. But anyways, that'll do it. Let me know if you liked the video, if I should do more of these. I'm kind of in a rut of like trying to decide like what I want to do with the channel. I have a lot of ideas, but the main problem is that like a lot of the ideas that I have are going to take a lot of time for me to actually like put together a video for. So I'm working through some of those kind of very slowly. But I should have some other videos up here soon. But yeah, so yeah, if you have any thoughts, just leave them in the comments. Like the video, please. Subscribe if you haven't. That helps. All that stuff's good. All right. Goodbye.